Live from the WEAC studio in Oxford, you're watching the award-winning Pigskin Roundup on TV 24.
Good Friday evening. Welcome to Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive. We are now in week 12, or better put, the second round of the high school playoffs. I am Gerhard Mathangani. This is Anna Catherine Alderman. We're with you for the next hour. We have scores and highlights for you coming up. Anna Catherine, I really love this time of year. I know I say that a lot, especially as we get closer to the playoffs, but I really love this time of year because I feel like when you get here, almost everybody is a true contender for that blue map. In Class 1A to 6A, we're going from the Sweet 16 to the Elite 8. And in 7A, we're going from the Elite 8 to the Final Four. So really just a really fun time of year with lots of close competitive football.
Yes, I mean, I think I talked about it last week. The colder weather always feels like football season. Yep. Even some of those hotter games at the beginning of the year, kind of getting into it. But really exciting in the playoffs. Some teams that you might not think will win. Some teams that you think are going to win, lose, go home. So always an exciting time. Exactly,
and I always feel like even in the atmosphere of the stadiums, you and I have been able to kind of hit some of the same stadiums in the past couple of weeks. You feel that anticipation and also that excitement.
Yes.
Just that energy level all together go up.
Packed, fans are loud.
Right.
Got noise makers and pom-poms and shakers and all sorts of stuff. And to cheer on their team.
Exactly. The rules, once again, simple in the playoffs. Win and continue to advance, lose, and you go home. We'll get some scores from you from some teams here in the East Alabama community. We'll start off in Class 6A, where the Oxford Yellow Jackets went over to Pinson. We were scheduled to have highlights of this football game between the Indians and the Yellow Jackets. Unfortunately for Oxford, the season comes to a close. But this is a really successful year, in my opinion, for Coach Sam Adams and the Oxford Yellow Jackets. A very young football team, grew throughout the season. They played a really tough team at Pinson Valley, a team that they had some struggles with. And the defending state champions, they move on. Coach Sam Shea has a really good football team over there in the Pinson area, and they get the win 20-0. Oxford season comes to an end with a 7-5 record.
And a little bit of an upset tonight as the Faith Academy Rams take down the Central Clay County Volunteers. They were ranked number 8 going into this game tonight. Faith Academy with the win, 40-33.
Meanwhile, a game you saw right here as a part of the WOTM AHSAA Game of the Week. You saw it on WOTM, also right here on TV 24. Parker and Alexandria. We were talking with Buckethead just a minute ago. This might be the biggest upset in the state tonight. Parker going to Death Valley. They had an incredible game by an individual player. We're scheduled to have highlights of this one as well. Parker, the number 7 team in the state. They play a really tough schedule and going against a really good Alexandria football team who had not tasted defeat all year long. They go and get a very tough win in a high-scoring contest, 41-34. So Alexandria season comes to a close. A very good year for Alexandria overall for Coach Todd Ginn and his guys, but it is Parker advancing to the quarterfinals.
And another pretty high-scoring game tonight, wrapped up a little bit later than some of our other games, but this is a final score. Number 2, American Christian taking down the Jacksonville Golden Eagles, 49-35.
Meanwhile, staying in Class 4A, Cherokee County and Viger. Believe it or not, these two teams are in the South. It's probably one of the longest road trips of all the playoffs. Viger going all the way from pitcher to center. Travel didn't really hurt much for Viger. They stay with a great season altogether and moving their overall record to 11-1. A really impressive victory over a very good Cherokee County football team coming from a very, very tough region, along there with Munford and with Anderson, with Jacksonville. A very tough region there. But it is Cherokee County's season coming to a close. Viger gets the win, 34-0, and the Wolves looking like one of the best teams in the state. Still ranked there at number 3, a very dangerous football team. They get the win on the road.
And also from that 4A Region 4, the defending state champs, number 7, Handley tonight with the win at home over Bibb County, 28-14.
We'll have highlights of this one a little bit later on in our program. Sachs and Oakman. The Sachs Wildcats is a team that lost to Piedmont early on in the year, and they have not looked back ever since then, and they would hope to have a date with Piedmont a little bit later on. Still have a whole lot of business to take care of, and for now, for 24 hours at least, they'll celebrate a win in the second round. Sachs with a win over Oatman, 36-22. They will play Fife in the next round. Fife over J.P. Pennington, 43-14. So the Sachs Wildcats do move on, and they'll play in the quarterfinal round next week.
And the game that we both went to tonight, Piedmont taking on Lauderdale County. It was all Piedmont tonight. The Bulldogs with a dominating win, 31-0.
I talked with a person that was at this next football game, staying in Class 3A and in the north, Ohatchee and Winfield, and he described Winfield as one of the fastest teams he has seen. Keep in mind, Winfield is a team that always does well in track, and a lot of their guys cross over into football. Winfield undefeated on the season at 12-0, the number 3 team in the state, and they do something that very few teams are able to do, beat Ohatchee by a wide margin. 56-27 is the final score. A very impressive win. Not just the win by the Pirates, but how they did it, how fast they were, and they set up a really great matchup next week with Piedmont. So it is Winfield and Ohatchee next week after that 56-27 win at home for Winfield.
And BB Comer on the road tonight. Last week they played on Thursday, but tonight they got to play on Friday night, and they got the win over Isabella, 34-25. And a little fun fact here, these two teams have only played once, and it was all the way back in 1941.
Yeah, they're coming with the graphic and the tidbits right there. Spring Garden, meanwhile, they went to the third round, whether the fourth round last year. They have a very, very tough task coming up next week, but they took care of business today against Aliceville. They remain undefeated on the season, 12-0, number 5 Spring Garden with the 40-35 win over the Yellow Jackets.
Wadley's first loss of the season came in that last game of the regular season, and it didn't slow them down last week, and it didn't slow them down again tonight. Bulldogs with the win at home to advance to the next round, where they'll play region rival Woodland. But tonight they got the win, 28-14 over Hubbardville.
Meanwhile, staying in the Class 1A North, and we promise you, number one, we didn't change to basketball, and we were just as surprised as this score as you might be looking into this. Records were set in this one as Decatur Heritage and Raglan played a game that went over 130 points total, 76-60. The final score, Decatur Heritage Christian getting the win over Raglan at Raglan. This was a very, very high-scoring affair. Once again, it looks like a basketball score, legitimately, but it is a football score, a record-breaking score, and Decatur Heritage gets the victory, 76-60.
And our final score that we have for you tonight, number 5, Pickens County Tornadoes with the win over the Winterboro Bulldogs tonight, 38-16.
Great stuff there from all of our local teams, and we'll run back those highlights in just a little bit later in our program. We'll also have a lot of highlights coming your way, and we'll give you some more scores of games in and around the state of Alabama that pique our interest here in this second round. Well, meanwhile, we appreciate you watching. For those of you that might have family and friends that want to tune into the Pigskin Roundup, here's how you could do so on your regular terrestrial televisions with cable, TV24, as well as WOTM. Meanwhile, we're also live on YouTube. And that link is also on our social media platforms on both Facebook and Twitter, and AC with more on that.
Yes, follow along on all of our social media accounts at pigscore_roundup. So just mention those links to live stream will be posted there. So if you're on the road on the way home from a long playoff game, you can watch us on YouTube on the way home. And then when you get home, turn the TV on and watch us there. For all sorts of field level action, touchdowns, celebrations, all sorts of stuff. You can find those on our social media accounts.
Excellent, right there. And you find us all over social media. Be sure to follow our platforms there. Well, coming up next here on Pigskin Roundup, we'll talk to some local coaches. We'll also have some highlights coming your way. Keep it right here on the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive.
Hi folks, Angie Stevens here. Did you know that Team 1 Automotive employs more families than any other dealership in Northeast Alabama? We're proud to be the leader in serving this area simply by the number of employees we have on board. And we're looking for career-minded people to join us. So if you're interested in a long-term employment opportunity, come in and see any of our Team 1 dealerships for more information. So check us out now and apply online at team1connect.com.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Hey folks, this is George Brunner with Superior Hyundai and Superior GMC Cadillac. Superior offers a full lineup of new GMCs, Cadillacs, and Hyundai. Between our 2 locations in Anniston and the one in Pell City, we have a great selection. Superior has the best selection of used trucks I've ever seen, and I've been doing this a long time. See all our vehicles at our new website, SuperiorAlabama.com. That's SuperiorAlabama.com. Superior Hyundai and Superior GMC Cadillac, where you're always more than just a number.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been dedicated to our customers and excellence in all areas. With constant improvements to our facilities, to adding new products and services to better serve you, our team is fully engaged in all the communities we serve. First Bank of Alabama knows that time is money, so we offer hometown services with advanced technology that allows you to bank on your own schedule. We want to be your community bank, so stop by. Come see us at First Bank of Alabama, where you're always first.
This is your invitation to shop Team 1 Nissan in Albertville. Everyone likes doing business with people you know and trust. Our entire staff at Team 1 Nissan is people that work and live right here in our community. People that are your neighbors. So when you're shopping for your next vehicle, shop where you get hometown service. And speaking of service, our staff is here to serve you. Check us out at team1nissan.com.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive. Another one of our fine sponsors is Cutter's Pizza and Wings. We have 2 locations to serve you, one in Alexandria off Highway 431, the other in Oxford off Hamrick Drive East. Their full menu is also online, cutterspizzeria.com. They have DoorDash delivery for you. They also have a couple of social media platforms I urge you to follow, both on Facebook and on Instagram. Just search for Cutter's Pizzeria. We thank them for their sponsorship. They feed our team every week, and they'll do the same for you. Welcome back to here on the Pigskin Roundup. We'll talk a little high school football. We have a victorious head coach on the line tonight, head coach Steve Smith of the Piedmont Bulldogs. Coach Steve Smith and those Bulldogs in familiar position here once again back in the playoffs in the second round at home, facing a really tough Lauderdale County team. And Coach, that's where we'll start with tonight's performance, being able to get the victory at home at the Field of Champions. Talk about the way your guys played tonight.
I was very proud of our guys tonight. We played really good on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Lauderdale County was a team that had only been giving up about 9 points a game on the regular season in the first round of playoffs. And we knew that they did a good job with some long time possession type drives, and that was something that we really worked on and stressed this week. You know, we didn't want to get them in those situations where they held the ball for 7, 8, 9 minutes at a time. And I thought our defense played extremely well tonight. We got several 3-and-outs there early in the game, and was able to force about 3 or 4 turnovers. And I thought our defense played really, really well. Kicking game was sound for us tonight, and offensively we did enough. You know, we kind of struggled a little bit time to time and left some things on the table, but a lot of that can be attributed to Lauderdale County's defense. I mean, they had a really fine squad on that side of the ball, and you know, both defenses played well tonight.
Coach, one of the things I noticed tonight was how loud your fans were. Do you feel like that helps your guys kind of get excited, get energized for the game? Do you think that impacts them at all?
Oh, yeah. You know, it get the playoffs, and our town does a tremendous job of supporting our team for sure. And advancing in the playoffs, everybody gets a little extra bounce in their step and gets a little happy, and the crowd was really into it tonight. And our guys do feed off of that, and I think it makes it for a great environment. Anytime anybody plays at the Field of Champions, it's going to be a fun environment. And I know our folks were excited to be able to host this week after going on the road last week in round 1.
Coach, one of the things about your squad that I've always admired from afar is they always kind of have a knack to kind of peak at the right time and have a winner's mentality. You've seen championship teams. You know high school football really well. What are some of the championship traits that this team has? Maybe not playing 1,000% all at the same page, peaking at the right time, but what are some of the traits you've seen with this club both through the year and tonight?
Well, I think it's important that you don't get too up or too down during a game. A lot of times things can happen early in the game. You can get off to a fast start, and that doesn't guarantee that you'll have a fast finish. And sometimes you get off to a slow start, and that doesn't mean you're going to have a slow finish. It's a 48-minute game. It's a long game. On average, there's going to be anywhere between 10 and 15 possessions for each team, and I think it's important that you keep kind of an even keel, that you don't get too high when things start off good, and you don't get too down when things don't start off maybe as well. And that's something I think is a key characteristic of our team. They pretty much understand to play the full 48 minutes and not to get too up, too down one way or the other. And they've been in a lot of big games, and so I don't think the big game moment, really, I don't think it affects us that much, because they've played in a lot of big games over the course of their careers, and they've played in a lot of big venues. They've played in some tough, hostile environments on the road, and they've played, some really good teams at home. And, I just think having experience and being in those situations before is a big factor for us.
Exactly, Coach. You were the 3 seed going into this playoff, which means this schedule is really, really tough. And then on top of that, you add a team like Alexandria, who's the number 3 team in the state going into tonight, unfortunately with their loss there, but also Cherokee County, who made the playoffs as well. You also played a very tough Apache team in the region and both out of the region. What are some of the things that you've learned just through tough scheduling to get your team ready for these postseason runs?
Well, I think it definitely helps you, and I know that's kind of an understatement, but, our 3 non-region games, everybody we played in our non-region, Center and Jacksonville and Alexandria were all playing tonight, and then you got your 3 teams from your region that were in the playoffs aside from you, and 2 of them were still playing tonight. And, I think playing those types of games, and we had a couple of teams, on our schedule, at least in our region, that may have been playoff teams in other regions, but, because of the competitiveness in our region, they finished a spot or 2 out of the playoff hunt in Region 5. But, those games obviously help your team. You don't want to ever, I'm not one of those coaches that subscribe that something good comes out of a loss. I don't know anything good that comes out of a loss, because I want to win them all. But, playing the Alexandrias and the Jacksonvilles and the Center non-region, and then having Apache, Weldon, Hokes Bluff, Sachs, those type people in your region, does nothing but better prepare you when you do go in these second, third round playoff games against the people you're going to play. You play people similar to that during the year.
Exactly. Final question for you, Coach. You have Winfield next week. Now, I know how you are. You obviously haven't broken them down as much as you'll have the information maybe on Monday or Tuesday. But just what of them have you heard, just in overall generality, some of the things that you're maybe expecting in that big matchup coming up next week with the Pirates?
Well, I really don't know a whole lot about them. I know their coach pretty well. Coach McKinney's been a long-time friend of mine, and I got a lot of respect for what he does coaching football, and I know he's got a really, really good team. I know a lot of people over on that side of the state says they feel like it's the best Winfield team he's had since he's been there. And, you're 12-0 and you're in the third round of the playoffs, ranked in the top 5 of the state. You obviously got a really good team, and I'm sure that when we start seeing film come in, this week, on them, we're going to see a team that's very fundamentally sound, and they're going to get after it on the defensive side of the ball, and it's going to be a big challenge for our guys.
Exactly. Coach, you've always been super gracious with your time with us throughout the years. You and I have known each other for forever. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Pigskin Roundup, and best of luck next week.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
No doubt about it. Coach Steve Smith of the Piedmont Bulldogs advancing now into the quarterfinal round once again, where they will play a very good Winfield football team. Now, Coach talked about it a minute ago, but here's some of the highlights of that competition. Tonight's game between Lauderdale County and Piedmont, that game going on over at the Field of Champions. Let's take a look at those highlights there. The Piedmont Bulldogs, once again, very well versed in playoff competition. Very good football team coming to the Field of Champions. Early on, it's Jack Hayes. Nice pass to Parker Thornton. And Thornton getting inside the 10-yard line there. A couple of plays later, it's quarterback Jack Hayes on the run, and he takes it right into the end zone for the touchdown. An early 7-0 lead for Piedmont. Meanwhile, a little bit later on for Piedmont, it is Austin Esses, and he takes the handoff, and he is gone. A 57-yard touchdown run. Once he gets in the open space, he's out of there. You see Coach Smith right there holding up the one finger for the extra point. They would get that extra point, 14-0 early on. Lauderdale County, though, comes up with some nice defense a little bit later on, stopping there in the goal line. You heard Coach say that they had some issues, especially in the red zone. They were able to get a field goal here, a 22-yarder from Sloan Smith to put them up 17-0. Lauderdale County does get a little bit going here. Here's Ethan Ham, intercepted there by Omarion Foster. Nice play off the ricochet, going down to the 20-yard line, but Piedmont would go for it, and they don't get in. That kind of speaks to some of the struggles that they had early on, but either way, the win is the win, and Coach talked about it earlier. Getting that victory and moving on is the biggest thing. Lauderdale County has a really good football team. 31-0, the final score. The biggest thing for Piedmont is they did not let Lauderdale County score, and it's a really good football team. As you heard Coach say, they have some things that they are really proud of, some things they want to work towards and build towards next week. Anna Catherine, number 3 Winfield, number 4 Piedmont. It should be a monster matchup.
No, I will say I was very impressed, and you can tell by the score, you know, they held Lauderdale County out of the end zone the whole night. So very impressive play by the Piedmont defense. Excited to see them next week.
Exactly, and great game today by the Bulldogs. Best of luck against Winfield coming up next week. Well, coming up next here on the Pigskin Roundup, we will talk a little playoff football with a guy that knows a lot about the playoffs as a player and as a coach. White Plains head coach Chandler Tyree joins us next here on the Pigskin Roundup.
Hey guys, you drive a truck? At Team One, we got trucks. Colorado, Silverado, Ram, Tacoma, Tundra, and the all-new Titan. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
I was finally ready to buy my first home after renting for the last several years. As I started my search, I got overwhelmed by how many websites and confusing listings there are. That's when I found the experts at ERA King. To me, ERA means expertise, reliability, and activity. I depended on them to find a home in my budget, and they didn't stop working until the keys were in my hands. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been dedicated to our customers and excellence in all areas. With constant improvements to our facilities, to adding new products and services to better serve you, our team is fully engaged in all the communities we serve. First Bank of Alabama knows that time is money, so we offer hometown services with advanced technology that allows you to bank on your own schedule. We want to be your community bank, so stop by. Come see us at First Bank of Alabama, where you're always first.
Right now at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor, the keyword is free. Buy any type of flooring at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor and we'll install it absolutely free. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, or vinyl, get it professionally installed absolutely free. Why pay to have your new floor installed when you can have it installed absolutely free and get 0% financing for an entire year? That's right, free interest for an entire year and free installation. That's Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor's free installation sale going on right now.
If you need a new vehicle and think you can't get financing, Team One can help. If you make $350 a week, Team One can finance you. Cars, trucks, and SUVs, Team One can finance you. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
Welcome back to Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team One Automotive. We are now joined in studio by a very good friend and the head coach of the White Plains Wildcats, Chandler Tyree. Coach, thank you so much for joining us here on the Pigskin Roundup.
Appreciate it.
First off, Coach, let's just talk about your year in general. You had, by your standards, trying to build this program and trying to build a winning mentality there in White Plains. You've had to overcome some struggles and overcome some adversity, but at the same time, you had some points of positivity, both individually and collectively.
You know, I always preach to our guys that it's bigger than a school board. Mm-hmm. Like when you're trying to rebuild a program, you can't always look at the school board. And for instance, I'll tell you, we were playing Pleasant Valley last game of the year, and they ran Fox, which is they faked the screen, and the guy slipped up the sideline, and we busted a coverage, and we could have easily quit on the play. And Dylan Barksdale, a sophomore for us, chased the kid down, not only made the tackle, but caused a fumble. We recovered it, and that was a big play in the ball game. Mm-hmm. And you could have easily quit on that play.
Right.
We're up already. You could have easily quit and just they score. But that just showed the things that we're trying to build in our program. And like we've met with our leadership council and we've talked about what we want to do moving forward and some of the strides that we made this year. And you know, in the region we're in, it's really tough. Mm-hmm. I tell people the past 2 years, if we were in any other 4A region in the state, we have a chance to compete better and compete for a playoff spot. And you know, it's just I think the excitement level's getting back. We're trying to do things in our program, fix our facilities, We've gotten new uniforms since I've been there, just things to make the kids excited about being a part of the program. But we also understand in the program that the only way you're going to get to where you want to get is to work hard. And I'll tell you this, man, I went to the Alexandria Parker game tonight, and just being in that atmosphere, that just made me even more hungry to try to get that playoff atmosphere to White Plains.
Exactly, and White Plains have always had a really, really positive, I would say, just momentum about all sports. And obviously, baseball is really big there. Basketball is huge there. They get great support in football as well. I think it's one of those things that's a real positive once you start to build it. And once you build it, obviously they're going to be
there. I was sitting there tonight, and I just said, man, it's so great to see Alexandria be really good in football again. Like, I just feel like that's good for our area. Like, when they're really good and that atmosphere in the playoffs, it's just an unbelievable atmosphere.
Exactly, because we're looking at video of some of the teams that were in this region. It's a very, very tough region. I'm going to ask you kind of a two-part question here. Number one, what is it like as a coach to be able to game plan against the teams that are playing in and out of this region? And also, what are some of the things that you've seen so far in these playoffs from the teams that have played here?
It's a lot of sleepless nights, I'll tell you that. It's a lot of late nights trying to stay up and just try to figure out a way to stop these guys that are in our region. And not only that, but you have to try to go up against the Clint Smiths, and you have to go up against the Larry Strains and those coaches that are, like, to me, they're just – and I can't say anything but good things about all of them because they've taken me under their wing and just trying to prepare to beat them, to stop them, to stay in the ball game is a tough challenge. But our kids, I mean, we show up to play every week, and our kids are excited about playing every week. And we go in thinking we can win ball games, which is where we want to be. And when we lose, our fans and our parents are disappointed that we lose. Like, I told our kids, like, when you start having a little bit of success, people put expectations on you.
For sure.
Whether or not they're fair or not, but I would rather have expectations than not have any expectations. But preparing for them, it's super tough. Like, my first year at White Plains, Jacksonville finished second in the state. Got beat by a really good UMS Wright team. Last year, Hanley wins the state championship. So it's a dogfight every single week. And so we go into it knowing that. But I feel like moving forward, and we've had a lot of young kids that's had to play, moving forward, that's going to benefit us. Now, we've also had a lot of seniors that's been really good for us. Jaden Chapman was a 2-year starter for us at quarterback. They graduated last year. He was a great player for us. And I could go on and on that list. Walker Osteen ran for over 1,600 yards, had over 2,000 yards all-purpose this year, was our leading tackler on defense. Just he's one of the best players that's ever came through White Plains.
For sure.
And great kid. He's not about himself. We try to bring him on different shows, and he don't say a word. And just quiet guy, but when the lights turn on, he's ready to roll. And I can say that about a bunch of guys this year. We got guys that compete, and eventually we can keep competing, keep trying to do things the right way, keep changing the culture. Eventually the school board is going to change for our favor.
Exactly.
You mentioned, building on what you've done this season. You have a lot of young guys. Who are some of those that you expect or you think will be kind of your leaders next year?
I think Dylan Barksdale will be a guy, even though he's only going to be a junior. You got Brandon Hom, Wade Thompson, Dalton Faulkner's a 2-year starter at center. You got some young guys that's really going to have to step up front. But the good thing about that is our JV team, our 7th, 8th, 9th grade team, went 4-1 this year. So they've experienced some success. So I think that's going to help us out in the future. But you got – Wade Thompson is a guy that you want a part of your football program. He's a guy that I'm excited about him being a leader. I'm excited about, like I said, we have a leadership council. It's about 12 to 14 guys, and we try to pick out 2 guys from each grade, 9 through 12, and those are the guys that I expect to handle stuff. Like, so often the head coach is handling so much of the discipline and all that stuff when it should never get to me. We should have expectations and accountability on our football program that should never make it to me. If a guy's struggling in a class or he's not doing his work, I expect those guys to say something to him. And I think that's the position that we're at. I think those guys are excited about our future. They understand that if we want to get to where we're going, it's going to be a lot of hard work because we hadn't been there a whole lot. But I told our guys the other day, we've went 10-20, which is not good by our standards, and that's not where we want to be at. but considering where we were at 3
Right.
years ago, we've taken a lot of steps forward.
Exactly. Just keep continuing building and building and building. I think has been the biggest thing. But believe it or not, he's not too far removed from his playing days. And one of the things that I remember when you played was one of the times I was very young going into this business, and you kind of pick out those leaders early on. From your playing time to where you are now, what have you seen in the shift of the game? Maybe your shift in your leadership style, knowing what it takes to kind of motivate a top player and now motivate a captain and a leader and some of the guys you're trying to form right now?
I'll say this, the game has changed so much even since when I was playing.
100%.
With the RPO stuff, like I remember playing linebacker, and it was you get your read, you get downhill, you hit somebody in the mouth. Now, if you get your read and you get downhill, they're going to pull and pop one right over the top of you. So the game's just changed. But as far as leadership, like I still want to be a servant leader. Like I don't want to just say, hey, you do this. I want people to see me doing it. And I think so many times we get caught up in a leadership position where we just start telling people what to do. And I'm a hands-on guy. Like I enjoy the off-season stuff as much. Like I enjoy what goes into getting ready for next season. What goes in weight room-wise, what goes into just preparing our stuff and getting our staff situated and all that stuff. So I enjoy all that, but I want to be a guy that I'm hands-on. I want to do things. I want people to see me doing what I'm telling them to do. And I fail and I fall short, and like everybody, but like I want to be that guy. I think I've also learned patience. Like I remember being in high school, and as a defensive guy, when the offense wasn't performing, I would be. It was not. I did not like that. I remember games where it's like we were slow starting offensively, and I would look at. I mean, y'all need to get it going. I think I've learned a lot of patience, and that's been a good thing for me. And I think that's the thing that I've had to learn. Like I wanted this to be about a 1-2 year turnaround, and I learned real fast. Like things like that don't happen. Like, and thankfully for me, I have a administration that supports me. And I've got the time to turn around the program. So I'm excited about next year. I'm looking, hopefully, that we're going into like a more normalcy than what we've been in. It's been a really tough 2 years because you thought after last year, hey, we're going to have more of a normal year this year. Well, then we got into it, and it spiked right when we got into it, and it was the same thing. Like I missed a game because of COVID. And it just, you know, I feel bad for our kids because you don't ever get this time back.
For sure.
So you try to make the most of what you can with the guys. Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. Like I enjoy, like 20 years from now, none of us are going to remember something that happens in a game. But we're going to remember those times together on Thursday, hanging out, playing cornhole, eating. And I can't say enough about, and I want to give them a shout out if that's all right. For
sure.
The Faulkners, I already talked about Dalton, but his whole entire family stepped up and fed us every single Thursday, and that's the stuff that we're going to remember.
Exactly.
When my wife, when we get to bring them over to the house and hang out, and just play PlayStation or watch football, or this last time the Braves were playing in the World Series. So when those are the times that you're going to go back, the relationships is what's going to last. And so I want to make sure that I'm slowing down enough, not so focused on everything that's going on the field, and making sure we pour into them off the field as well.
Exactly. Coach, you're building it the right way, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Pigskin Roundup. Coach Chandler Tyree of the White Plains Wildcats joining us here on our program tonight. Keep it right here for more scores and more highlights on the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team One Automotive.
This is your invitation to shop Team One Nissan in Albertville. Everyone likes doing business with people you know and trust. Our entire staff at Team One Nissan is people that work and live right here in our community. People that are your neighbors. So when you're shopping for your next vehicle, shop where you get hometown service. And speaking of service, our staff is here to serve you. Check us out at team1nissan.com.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been dedicated to our customers and excellence in all areas. With constant improvements to our facilities, to adding new products and services to better serve you, our team is fully engaged in all the communities we serve. First Bank of Alabama knows that time is money, So we offer hometown services with advanced technology that allows you to bank on your own schedule. We want to be your community bank, so stop by. Come see us at First Bank of Alabama, where you're always first.
Right now at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor, the keyword is free. Buy any type of flooring at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor and we'll install it absolutely free. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, or vinyl, get it professionally installed absolutely free. Why pay to have your new floor installed when you can have it installed absolutely free and get 0% financing for an entire year? That's right, free interest for an entire year and free installation. That's Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor's free installation sale going on right now.
Hey folks, I just want to remind you all that Team One Automotive is proud to be a part of Pigskin Roundup, proud to be a part of this community, and we want you on our team. Hey guys, you drive a truck? At Team One, we got trucks. Colorado, Silverado, Ram, Tacoma, Tundra, and the all-new Titan. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
Welcome back to Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team One Automotive. If you weren't with us at the top of the show, we will run through the scores for you for the teams here in the East Alabama community. A really good Oxford football team built their way throughout the course of the season. It's a really young team for Coach Sam Adams, but they fall at the home of the defending state champions from Pinson Valley. Final score 20-0. Sam Shade and his bunch has had a good season overall, but I congratulate Coach Adams. A really good year. They don't get it done at Pinson Valley, but a solid season overall. Oxford's year comes to a close at 7-5.
And a little bit of an upset tonight at Faith Academy. They knock off number 8 Central Clay County 40-33.
Meanwhile, a game that you'll see highlights of in just a little bit here, Parker and Alexandria. I was talking with Buckhead a little bit earlier. This is probably one of the bigger upsets overall in the state. 41 points they put up in Death Valley. Parker goes on to end Alexandria's season and give the Valley Cubs their only loss of the year. Final score from the Valley, 41-34. Parker moves on to the quarterfinals.
Moving over to 4A, another pretty high-scoring game tonight, but definitely not the highest point total we've seen tonight. Number 2, American Christian beats Jacksonville 49-35.
Meanwhile, a really good Viger team making a very long road trip, but even though they had that long road trip, there is obviously nothing that stopped the Wolves tonight. A really good Cherokee County football team. Coach Kelly's done a fine job with the Warriors. You heard Coach Tyree from White Plains talk about it earlier. It's a really tough region. They gave the number 3 team in the state all they can handle. However, it is Viger showing you just how good they are. The number 3 team in the state marches on to the next round with a 34-0 win over the Warriors.
And the defending state champs, number 7 Hanley, with the win tonight over Bibb County 28-14.
Okay, and then going on over to our next game in Class 3A, the Sax Wildcats. Highlights you'll see a little bit later on in this program, getting a 36-22 win over Oakman. They will play Fife in the next round, who knocked off J.B. Pennington tonight. So Sax moves on, still with just one loss on the year.
And you saw highlights from this game. We talked to Coach Smith earlier. Pretty dominating performance by the Piedmont defense tonight with the shutout, 31-0 over Lauderdale County.
Meanwhile, a really interesting battle at Winfield as Winfield took on Ohatchee. It's a really fast Winfield football team. You heard Coach Steve Smith say it just a minute ago. This is a Winfield team that is number 1 well coached, but they have a lot of speed. Still undefeated on the year. Probably one of the best teams they've put out there, and the score is an indicator of that. Very few teams put up 50-plus on Ohatchee. Winfield did tonight. The Pirates stay undefeated and move on with a 56-27 win. The Indian season comes to a close. A really good one at 9-3.
And number 9, BB Comer on the road tonight. They beat the Isabella Mustangs 34-25. And a fun fact from earlier, if you missed it, is these two teams have played once, and it was all the way back in 1941.
Meanwhile, Spring Garden over in Class 2A with another win, and they once again move on. This is becoming happenstance over there, happening more and more with Coach Jason Howard and those Spring Garden Panthers. A 40-35 victory over a really good Aliceville team. So once again, congratulations to the Panthers. They move on.
And a really good Wadley team continues to roll right on into the 3rd round with a 28-14 win over Hubbardsville tonight.
We said this at the top of the show, and we'll tell you again. We promise you this is not a basketball score. This is a football score. 76-60. Records were broken in this football game between Decatur Heritage and Ragland. Decatur Heritage is the number 4 team in the state. Of course, keep in mind now, this is a 1A school, and I'm sure a lot of these guys go both ways for both teams. It's a lot of football to be going both ways for both teams, and I think a lot of people are like, where's the defense? Well, and probably understandably why there's over 130 points scored in this football game, but it's Decatur Heritage moving on with a 76-60 win.
And staying in 1A tonight, it was the number 5 Pickens County Tornadoes knocking off the Winterboro Bulldogs 38-16.
We are back here on Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive. One of the games that we had talked about earlier, it is our game of the week this week. It is the AHSAA game of the week. You saw it right here on WOTM and TV24. It is Parker and Alexandria. James Verrett and Rick Rhodes with the call. Very good game today for the Parker Thundering Herd, and we'll get you that recap between Coach Verrett, or James Verrett, and Coach Rhodes. We'll get you that recap in just a little bit, but the Parker Thundering Herd end up winning that football game today. Final score 41-34 today in Death Valley. That final score there, a really surprising one, and I think a lot of people were surprised thinking that this Alexandria team had what it takes to represent the 5A North.
Absolutely. Alexandria has just, for lack of a better word, crushed everyone they've played all season. They've had some really high-scoring games. Their defense has scored a lot.
Right.
They've been really great all season, and I think, as you mentioned, a lot of people were kind of surprised by the score tonight.
And once again, we'll have a little bit more on that one coming up here on our program on the Pigskin Roundup. We'll have more highlights coming your way. Keep it right here on Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive.
This is your invitation to shop Team 1 Nissan in Albertville. Everyone likes doing business with people you know and trust. Our entire staff at Team 1 Nissan is people that work and live right here in our community. People that are your neighbors. So when you're shopping for your next vehicle, shop where you get hometown service. And speaking of service, our staff is here to serve you. Check us out at team1nissan.com.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Hey folks, this is George Brunner with Superior Hyundai and Superior GMC Cadillac. Superior offers a full lineup of new GMCs, Cadillacs, and Hyundai. Between our 2 locations in Anniston and the one in Pell City, we have a great selection. Superior has the best selection of used trucks I've ever seen, and I've been doing this a long time. See all our vehicles at our new website, superioralabama.com. That's superioralabama.com. Superior Hyundai and Superior GMC Cadillac, where you're always more than just a number.
Right now at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor, the keyword is free. Buy any type of flooring at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor and we'll install it absolutely free. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, or vinyl, get it professionally installed absolutely free. Why pay to have your new floor installed when you can have it installed absolutely free and get 0% financing for an entire year? That's right, free interest for an entire year and free installation. That's Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor's free installation sale going on right now.
Hi folks, Angie Stevens here. Did you know that Team 1 Automotive employs more families than any other dealership in Northeast Alabama? We're proud to be the leader in serving this area simply by the number of employees we have on board. And we're looking for career-minded people to join us. So if you're interested in a long-term employment opportunity, come in and see any of our Team 1 dealerships for more information. So check us out now and apply online at team1connect.com.
Welcome back to Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive, another one of our fine sponsors. Cutter's Pizza and Wings. They have 2 locations, one in Alexandria off Highway 431, the other one off Hammock Drive East in Oxford. Head over to cutterspizzeria.com. They have their full menu online. You can also order DoorDash. Stay right there at your home and get that great pizza and wings right there at your doorstep. They have 2 social media platforms, one on Facebook, one on Instagram. Go to the search bar, put in Cutter's Pizzeria, and you'll find all of their great products and deals right there on the site. Well, right here, coming back here on the Pigskin Roundup, we have Mark Everett Kelly back in the house. He was over at Jack Stewart Field tonight, over at Sachs High School, a really good Sachs football team, playing host against Oakman tonight. Tell us how it went over at Sachs.
Yeah, 2 teams with long winning streaks getting together at Sachs tonight. Sachs are winners of 8 straight, hosting Oakman in the second round of the 3A playoffs. And it was nice to see the people out there. It was a little bit of a cold night, but when Sachs is winning, they have a pretty good fan base, and they were definitely excited about that game tonight.
100%. Let's go straight to those highlights from Jack Stewart Field tonight and tell them how it went.
So, winners of 8 straight for Sachs entering this game. Oakman in the second round of the 3A playoffs. Oakman enters with 7 straight wins as well, as the 2 teams met for the first time ever. Oakman's first drive, facing 3rd and 11. Junior quarterback Baylor Odom rolling out to avoid pressure. Finds senior wide receiver Sean Douglas for the first down. Beautiful pass here, keeping the drive alive. 2 plays later, 2nd and 10. Senior running back Caden Marchbanks takes the direct snap and bursts through the line, running away from the defense. 35-yard touchdown run, extra point good, 7-0 Oakman. Sachs' first drive after consecutive false starts put them in a 2nd and 15. Wildcats quarterback Sean Purnell connects with senior wide receiver Sean Elston on a 15-yard completion and a first down. Later in the drive, 2nd and 6 at the 24. Senior running back Ricky Garrett, who's very, very physical running back, regains his footing here, breaks to the outside, reaching for the goal line. Out of the 2. That leads to Parnell taking it in from 2 yards out. The big bulldozing quarterback here, plowing through. Sachs stop, trying for 2, 7-6 Oakman. Oakman's next drive, 2nd and 10. Marchbanks takes the direct snap again, and he fools the cameraman and everyone else. Breaks away from the defense into the open. There he is. His second long TD run, this one from 59 yards. Senior running back had 125 yards on 11 first half carries and 2 touchdowns. Sachs gets the ball back. 2nd and 9. Parnell finds Jakari Streeter for a 22-yard gain, extending the drive. Later on, the final play, the senior quarterback culminates 10-play to 82-yard drive with a 5-yard touchdown run here. 2-point conversion ties the game. Parnell 10 carries, 49 yards, and 2 TDs in the first half. Oakman trying to answer the next drive. 4th and 1 from the 43. Odom is stopped. Shy of the first down, giving the ball back to Sachs as time is running out in the first half. Very next play, the quarterback Parnell reminds me a little bit of a quarterback used to play for Kentucky. Parnell connects, beautiful touch pass here to Elston. Once more, 57 yards. Parnell 3 for 5, 94 yards on 1 TD in the first half. 2-point conversion makes it 22-14 Sachs. Wildcats hold on to win, 36-22. And advance to the 3rd round for the 2nd straight year, where they will take on Fife, who has only outscored their opponents 77-0 in the first 2 rounds.
Exactly, including a big 43 spot today. It'll be a great one between, I think, all the 3A North will be really interesting. You heard Coach Smith a little bit earlier for Piedmont talking about the great matchup they have next week with Winfield. Now you have a Sachs and Fife matchup. Winners go into the 3A North final. It should be a great one.
I'm telling you, Sachs can score.
Yeah.
I mean, they got some, as Bill Pito would say, they got some skills.
Exactly.
On offense. And just to tell a story, how they were able to put together those drives and sustain those drives. Mm-hmm. They got a very good running game. Garrett's a very physical running back.
For sure.
He really is. And they also have McGann, too. McGann's another physical player. And then you add in Parnell. Parnell can just do a number of things. So that makes Sachs very good, and they're going to be a team to reckon with. I don't know if they can beat Fife, but then again, they beat Geraldine pretty bad in a game I saw them, and Geraldine beat Fife. So, hey, if the Jets can beat the Bengals, anything can happen.
You say that you can't do the whole transitive property. If you do that in college football, then you'll have the worst team beating the best team.
Well, if Texas A&M beats Alabama,
I know. And I think the same thing exists here in high school football as well. Anything can happen. Both Jonathan Miller from Sachs and Steve Smith from Piedmont. Big matchups next week to see who goes on to represent the 3A North in that 3A North championship game. Keep it right here. We'll close it up on the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive.
If you need a new vehicle and think you can't get financing, Team One can help. If you make $350 a week, Team One can finance you. Cars, trucks, and SUVs, Team One can finance you. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
I was finally ready to buy my first home after renting for the last several years. As I started my search, I got overwhelmed by how many websites and confusing listings there are. That's when I found the experts at ERA King. To me, ERA means expertise, reliability, and activity. I depended on them to find a home in my budget, and they didn't stop working until the keys were in my hands. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been dedicated to our customers and excellence in all areas. With constant improvements to our facilities, to adding new products and services to better serve you, our team is fully engaged in all the communities we serve. First Bank of Alabama knows that time is money, so we offer hometown services with advanced technology that allows you to bank on your own schedule. We want to be your community bank, so stop by. Come see us at First Bank of Alabama, where you're always first.
Right now at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor, the keyword is free. Buy any type of flooring at Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor and we'll install it absolutely free. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, or vinyl, get it professionally installed absolutely free. Why pay to have your new floor installed when you can have it installed absolutely free and get 0% financing for an entire year? That's right, free interest for an entire year and free installation. That's Ted's Abbey Carpet and Floor's free installation sale going on right now.
Hey guys, you drive a truck? At Team One, we got trucks. Colorado, Silverado, Ram, Tacoma, Tundra, and the all-new Titan. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
Hi folks, Angie Stevens here. Did you know that Team One Automotive employs more families than any other dealership in Northeast Alabama? We're proud to be the leader in serving this area simply by the number of employees we have on board. And we're looking for career-minded people to join us. So if you're interested in a long-term employment opportunity, come in and see any of our Team One dealerships for more information. So check us out now and apply online at team1connect.com.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
Since 1848, First Bank of Alabama has been dedicated to our customers and excellence in all areas. With constant improvements to our facilities, to adding new products and services to better serve you, our team is fully engaged in all the communities we serve. First Bank of Alabama knows that time is money, so we offer hometown services with advanced technology that allows you to bank on your own schedule. We want to be your community bank, so stop by. Come see us at First Bank of Alabama, where you're always first.
Hey guys, you drive a truck? At Team One, we got trucks. Colorado, Silverado, Ram, Tacoma, Tundra, and the all-new Titan. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway? If you need a new vehicle and think you can't get financing, Team One can help. If you make $350 a week, Team One can finance you. Cars, trucks, and SUVs, Team One can finance you. Log on, driveteam1.com. What's in your driveway?
Welcome back to the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team One Automotive. Our closing segment here. First off, Anna Catherine and Mark, let's just talk about this night overall. We've been able to not only see some football, but hear these scores roll in, find out who's moving on to the quarterfinal round. I'll ask you both, to start with you, Mark, about your overall observations from this evening and from the third round.
Well, I think from the game I saw, the diversity of the Sox offense is something I was really impressed with. Not, again, being my first year down here, not really used to high school football in Alabama. The passing game, again, 3 for 5, 94 yards in the first half for Parnell. And the physical abusive running style for both Parnell and Garrett, I thought was very impressive. And I think Sox is a bit of an underdog here. They could probably make some noise as it moves on later. I don't know. Like, them and Fife, that really intrigues me because of what they did to Garfield.
I
Geraldine,
agree.
my bad. Right, Gary. I'm thinking of cats.
Absolutely agree. I think I've mentioned it a lot. I was really impressed by the Piedmont defense tonight, and also Parker just overall with a win over Alexandria.
Yeah, we saw that earlier, and you saw that right here on TV 24 and WEAC. Parker and Alexandria, and Parker pulling off, I think, one of the bigger upsets. These stats that I'm about to read to you, brought to you by our main man Buckethead, who just told us a minute ago. Khalifa Keith, over 400 all-purpose yards, 200 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns in that football game. You rarely see an opponent come to Death Valley and come and play the way that guy played. I also like the way Piedmont played and the way kind of Piedmont's playing right now from a momentum standpoint as we move forward. So that's my next question to you as we go on. Now that we know, for the most part, we know all of the situations and the matchups for next week, what are you most looking forward to? My favorite question is, if you could clone yourself 2 or 3 times, what games would you attend into this quarterfinal round and semifinal round in 7A?
I have no doubt Thompson.
Yeah.
Because I think you have 2 of the elite programs getting head-to-head. Hoover barely escaped, so they get their matchup, and I think this is what everybody looks at. When you have 2 teams that are nationally ranked playing on the same state, that's something to look forward to.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's probably one of the most exciting games next week. I'm really interested to see Woodland and Wadley play. They're in the same region. They've played already, and now they're playing in the 3rd round. Woodland barely slipped into the playoffs, and here they are in the 3rd round. So exciting to see if they continue with this playoff momentum.
Exactly. I think one of the things that the more interesting part about that Woodland-Wadley matchup is, you mentioned it, it's the fact that they came into this game, or they came into the playoffs winning just enough games to make it to the playoffs. They won 3 games.
They were 1-4 coming out of the same region.
Correct, exactly. But they won what they needed to, and now here they are finding themselves in the 3rd round of the playoffs against a team that it will be heavily favored, I'm sure, in that matchup, Wadley. But you never know. They pulled 2 upsets so far. I think the ones that I'll do kind of a split one, because mine will be all of 3A North next week. You have Piedmont and Winfield, and you have both Sacs and Fife as well.
How about 76-70? I mean, we're talking like Doug Moe, Denver Nuggets of the 1980s. Might as well put Alex Ingles out there. I mean, that was really impressive for there were not going to be many high school basketball scores that reached that.
Exactly. Spring Garden also moving into that next round. And we'll also let you know that we will be back next week for our final show here on the Pigskin Roundup. We will have all of our local scores in highlights. We'll also try to get you a lot of the matchups as we go now into the semifinal round, which we will be going into coming up after next week. All the winners will be marching on into the semifinal round. We'll also get some participants, whether it's coaches, getting you into what they're going on in the locker room as they get ready for yet another big week of football here in the state of Alabama. For Mark Everett Kelly, for Anna Catherine Alderman, I'm Gerhard Mathangani. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive. Coming up next, it's our buddies, Buckethead and the King. They got a great show. Call in. It's always entertaining. We'll see you next week right here on the Pigskin Roundup, brought to you by Team 1 Automotive.
Hi folks, Angie Stevens here. Did you know that Team 1 Automotive employs more families than any other dealership in Northeast Alabama? We're proud to be the leader in serving this area simply by the number of employees we have on board. And we're looking for career-minded people to join us.